Good evening everyone, here's our latest video update on Typhoon Soulik, which thankfully has weakened today as it continues to move across the Philippine Sea on its way towards Taiwan and the southern Japanese islands. The typhoon with the local name of Huaning was last located approximately 500 kilometers southeast of the island of Okinawa, or about 850 kilometers east-southeast of the city of Taipei in Taiwan. Maximum sustained winds have gone down to 165 kilometers per hour with gusts of up to 240 kilometers per hour. Now the system is moving westward at 20 kilometers per hour. You can definitely see here in this latest visible satellite imagery how close the system now to the islands here in the Ryukyus and also out here in the islands of Miyakojima and Yaeyema. The wind field of this system extends as far north as maybe even 200 kilometers away, and in fact Okinawa is starting to report stronger winds. Okinawa, you can see here winds of about 30 to 40 kilometers per hour, and also here in Miyakojima, which is about 350 kilometers southeast of Okinawa. So again, this is Okinawa and this is Miyakojima, and you can see those counterclockwise winds of up to 40 kilometers per hour, and it will only increase as the night goes on. And obviously same thing goes for Taiwan and the Miyako and Yaeyema islands here. Expect increasing winds tonight and into tomorrow, and also those outer bands definitely will begin to impact those areas as well as we move into Friday. Now looking at the latest infrared image, again the system has weakened slightly, and this actually now down to a category 2 if you base the winds from the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. System has been undergoing some sort of an eyewall replacement cycle, and you can see the eye here has definitely worsened and has eroded and is giving way on a much larger ring of convection here. Looking at the microwave image again, that confirms the analysis that an eyewall replacement cycle is happening, and you can see again that concentric rings starting to take over with the old and inner eyewall continuing to break down. But what does that mean for our system? Well, for one, as we mentioned yesterday, it will induce a weakening with Soulik, and that's what we actually saw today, weakened from a category 4 down to a category 2. Now also the system is moving in a actually moved over a pool of cooler waters, or at least waters with lower ocean heat content. As you know, typhoons love warm waters, and obviously heat is their primary source of energy, and now Soulik is starting to move back into waters with higher ocean heat content, as you can see on this map. So we expect those conditions to improve and help Soulik at least maintain its intensity, if not intensify a little bit more. Now we won't see the same intensity that we've seen 2 days ago, where it peaked at category 4 intensity, although a category 3 is still possible as it continues to move on a west-northwesterly track. And speaking of that track, again the system continues to move under that subtropical ridge anchored south of Japan, again on its way towards possibly making landfall here in Taiwan, and that computer model starting to converge now on that scenario, and showing Soulik hitting possibly the northern portion of the island of Taiwan, possibly waking the city of Taipei as we move into Saturday. And also before that, actually more importantly, is the islands here east of Taiwan. We got Miyakojima, Yaeyema, Ishigaki. Those islands are inhabited, and one island as much as 50,000 residents live in there, and so definitely a very significant threat for them as well. And obviously Taiwan, and then into southeastern China, possibly making landfall here in Fujian province by Sunday. Now obviously the threat for the system are the strong winds, the heavy rain, and also those high waves that will be impacting the coastline. And the rainfall amounts expecting as much as 500 to even more 500 millimeters or more. And looking at this latest, this is just one of the computer models that we use in forecasting the rainfall, and you can see here this is the 72-hour forecast, so 3-day forecast total of the rainfall accumulation coming from Soulik, and you can trace the movement of that system moving west northwestward and bringing that heavy rain across the islands here in Japan, and most importantly into northern Taiwan. We expect where the computer model, this certain model is outputting as much as 500 to 700 millimeters of rainfall in a matter of 3 days. So by Sunday, we expect those heavy rainfalls to be reported in this part of the world. Now, as for the official forecasts from beginning with Japan Meteorological Agency, again keeping with the consensus here, moving westward and then slightly turning west northwestward, again making landfall possibly out here in the northern portions of the island of Taiwan, again possibly by Friday evening or perhaps early Saturday morning, depending on the speed of the system. But again, even before that, Soulik expected to move very closely to the islands here of Japan, beginning again, as we've mentioned before, impacting the islands as early as tonight, with the rains possibly beginning by tomorrow Friday, and will only get worse as the day goes on, especially Friday evening into Saturday morning. That's when we expect those strong damaging typhoon winds to occur along with heavy rains, and the same goes for Taiwan. And by Saturday afternoon, we expect Saturday afternoon to Sunday, we expect the system to eventually make landfall out here in the province of Fujian, out here in southeastern China. Now, as for the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, again, very little change now in the forecast, as we're starting to see the consensus from the computer models and also from the forecasting agencies. And again, keeping the system on a west-northwesterly track, passing south of the Japanese island, south of Ishigaki, by tomorrow evening, tomorrow afternoon, and then again making landfall here in Taiwan. And Joint Typhoon Warning Center actually taking the system on a very close path towards the city of Taipei by early Saturday morning. As a strong typhoon, they're actually expecting Soulik to regain that category 3 intensity by tomorrow and perhaps make landfall at that intensity, and slightly weakening as it crosses the Taiwan Strait, perhaps down to a category 2 before making its second and final landfall out here in southeastern China, and obviously will weaken significantly after that as it moves further inland. And as we conclude our video update for today, we look at the latest infrared loop of the system, and again you can see that eye starting to get eroded again with the possible eyewall replacement cycle, expecting the system to regain category 3 by tomorrow. So again, if you are living in the areas mentioned, Taiwan most importantly, and also the Japanese islands over here, again start preparing now. Expect the worst conditions to occur in less than 48 hours. So if you haven't done so, please do stock up on supplies, and as always consult the official weather agencies of your country. You know, Taiwan is the Central Weather Bureau, and obviously Japan has the Yaeyema. So, and as always, you can also find the latest updates on this storm on our websites down below. Stay safe, guys. Have a good night.